Good evening, everyone. Another new adventure indeed. Man, you're a trooper, Susan. A trooper. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Meyer of Meyer Studio. Welcome to Masterworks. Tonight we're going to look at the artist Thomas Dewings. And we're going to look at three, maybe four of his figures he did in the scenes, and we're going to look at the measure of the value and the color. And Shakti too. Shakti's in it for the long run. You guys are strong. Wow. Are strong. Well, let's see if we can't make it worth your time. Make sure this is full screen here, and we'll go ahead and share it. Okay. So, again, Thomas Dewings. And in one way, this may seem like it has nothing to do with what we talked about earlier today. But in another way, it completely does. Because even though it was a little bit obvious when we put a circle, of pups or a circle of anything like that, when it comes to a painting like this, all we have is kind of this release. So in these paintings, these backgrounds become our release, our depth. So let's take just a few minutes, or not a few minutes, but a minute, and just take this thing in. Take this thing in. Yeah, stunning, stunning, stunning. All right, let's take a look at this in black and white. Wow. Can you see how close that measure is? Those values? We're going to jump over to the iPad here for a second. Because I think this is hard to understand until you see it. This is looking like it is because of the relationship. If I actually put white in here, it kind of tears asunder this whole thing. In other words, how far off white is the lightest light? Right? So they're holding that really close. Does anything get down to black here? Nothing really feels like that, does it? Maybe kind of a little, but it's so loose. Right? What would happen to this thing if you decided just to really lay a nice show this thing as sitting down, have a nice shadow down here? That mood just got obliterated. Okay, I hope you can see that. Oops, let's come back to our screen share. So does that make it easier to kind of appreciate how close those values really are? And that's one of the things that allow you to slip in and out of this thing. What do you mean slip in? Well, tell me about this edge right here. All right, tell me about this edge right here. Right? Since there's not a great distance between this and here, And then he can use a little quote-unquote highlight, but you saw how far off white this stuff is, to focus your attention. And also, let's just look at his dark. Very delicate. A very delicate shadow follows across. There's the nose. And that's basically the dark. That's the dark. Okay, the reason we look at these is so that as you mix your paint and you put your paint on there, you come to know that that relationship can be much more subtle. Right? I mean, do you wonder? Oh, goodness. Yeah, and there's nothing there. Do you see, in terms of what most people are trying to do, there's just nothing there. I love the quality of that paint. Yeah. And a lot of the color and things that these guys get, men and women, when I say guys and men, I'm usually talking universal. I'm trying to get better. But look at that background. Look carefully at that background. It's not a single color. But it appears to me like there was a pretty warm down there to start with. And then he came in with a cool purple. That purple may actually be absolutely gray. And just looking so purple and cool in this context. I promise you it's not as bright as that spot looks. Right? And the same with the green. So let's try going over to the iPad just one more time. And do you wonder, like, maybe how yellow that dress is? Can you see how grayed off even that bright yellow is? It's kind of shocking, right? That's the power of harmony. It took me forever to see just how far that was. So let's see. That thing looks pretty purple. That looks pretty purple back there. So what? That's pretty gray purple. Are we getting close? Are we getting close? Not even close. Way off. Way too bright. Look where that chroma is. And that's way too bright. So it's hard to match, and part of the reason is it's not flat, right? You see as I make this flat, it gets brighter. It's just so broken up, and there's like that warm underneath and the cool on top, that literally the quality of the paint is that reading on there, right? You know, just look at her arm. What kind of hard edge do you see there? Right? It's almost like we're looking into physics, right? It just, there's really no separation. And then towards the top of the arm, it really separates out. Right? Like, how does that, even down here, look at that, versus that. Okay, I know, I can go on forever, but I'm the same way, and when people see the beauty, I like to take the opportunity to kind of stick the colors we're usually working with in there. By the way, look at that ground. Does that look like a nice, beautiful color to you? No, it's one of those really, really gross colors. And that's why that yellow can be so far from a bright yellow and still appear right, that relationship. The relationship. Okay, let's see. So what do you think? You think there's any white in this painting? How many people can see there's definitely some pure white in here? And you know, what's our darkest dark? So that's pretty light. That might even be lighter. How far off white is this stuff? Is that shocking to you? It was shocking to me. Look, was this not reading as white before? And now it's like dirty, dirty laundry water. How is that possible? Again, relationships. So I say all the time that the whites in the master painters are very seldom. Is there any white at all in there? You know, a lot of times nowhere close to it. And this one, there's nowhere close to white. And absolutely nowhere close to black. So holding those values and those colors so close together, yet how well organized are they? What do I mean by that? Well, you see this, we can read all of this basically as a dark. Yeah, there's a little bit of light, right? A little bit of this is invading that, just a bit. But overall, all of this is a dark, and that dark continues right through there. And then we have gray. And then a slightly lighter gray. And finally, we have our light. Do you see that? Basically 3 big simple pieces as far as the big design is concerned. And then again with that, I mean, how much color is in here? How red is that nose? Well, not that red. It's way too light. That still seems a bit too bright. Maybe, but that's even too clean. So that looks like a bright red? Yeah. Yeah, in this scenario it does. By the way, when we say warm shadows, that's warm when we compare it to that as a cooler. Some people mistakenly read that as warmer. It is lighter. It's not warmer, it's more neutral. This is warmer, it's got more chroma. So notice how the light lost its chroma, and then the shadow has the color. Okay. All right, I'm getting sucked in again. I'm getting sucked in. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Let's go back. It's easier to see that big value divide there. Right, and how simple he's made that whole light into one simple big shape. Oh, maybe we could try to paint these in class sometime. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea until you try to help people copy. In other words, it's just so difficult. But you know what we could do is we could do little value studies of them or little color studies of them. But again, a true mastery of value, of shape, and then of color, and so much of that color comes from the way the paint is applied and what it's next to. Very tricky. Very tricky. But if you are ever inspired to copy a master, do it. Do it, because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn. I love this. We got all kinds of strong way. I like the impossible. Right on. Then yeah, we can do that. Yeah, you got the strength. I'll do it. It's hard sometimes to watching people get beat up, kind of. But like you said, we're strong. We're strong. Right, look how gray and dull that whole thing is. Right, have you ever seen anything so gray and dull? If I mix those colors up and had them on your palette and said, okay, why don't you do something with these? Okay, truthfully, who would not fire me on the spot? I mean, just imagine, in your imagination, mix up this color on your palette. Look, that's gross. And then, look, I'm going to have this brown with a little green in it. And then I'm going to tell you this real nasty gray stuff is going to be your light. You're going to go, well, can I use a little white? Can I use a little... Again, the strength is in the simplicity. And you have... It takes a lot of experience to really grasp that. You know, to grasp, for any of you that have been painting portraits, he simplified that into one piece of light. So how much has he said with how little? And then on top of that, he said volumes. He said volumes. And then he says it in the most beautiful voice you've ever heard. It's like, whoa. I'm in love. I'm in love. Look at you guys. You guys are ready to take on the world. All right. All right. I say we go for it. Let's take it on. Let's take it on. All right. So we're going to look at one or two more here. And I'll speed up a little bit. But what I want you to see on here is the patterning of the values. All right, again, do you see how cleanly this piece sticks? And then there's clean. But look, this even spills onto this, and there's, boom. So can we see this note in relation to this note, which is different than that note? And then how does the top part of the note of the dress differ from all of this? Wait, how did he paint that? How did he paint that? I don't know how close you can get to that. But you can see through to the canvas here. This is stain. And the only way you can do that is if you know how you're going to finish. All right, so look at that what that does to the bottom part of that dress. And do you see something you might not have seen before? Do you see light snaking from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top? Wow, that's pretty sneaky, huh? That's pretty sneaky. Again, we'd probably be surprised, and I didn't load in the iPad, but if I came back and put black back here, it would be shocking. It would be shocking. Yeah, a little drama in this one, huh? The drama in the values, yet his shapes are so delicate. Right? I mean, that's a pretty harsh light against a dark right here. Right? If this shape wasn't so delicate and beautiful, this value from here to here would be entirely too much. I mean, entirely too much. Right? Again, it doesn't look like much is going on here. But to paint such delicate hands so simply, it ain't an easy task. It ain't an easy task. So one last question for this one. How much is actually going on here? So think about the whole of the canvas, every square inch of it. And on how much acreage there and how many square inches is something actually going on? Well, clearly there's something going on here. This gets relatively quiet, but there's some nice color. Back here, there's almost nothing going on. There's absolutely nothing going on here. Nothing. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you take this whole part of the canvas right here, this is the only place something's happening. So a lot of nothing and a little bit of something. Drama. Yes. All right, let's see. What else we got here? That feels a little different. Again, notice the nature of the values. And how did he balance this 3 dimensions we were talking about this morning? Well, the space is shallow, but this is in front, and then comes this, then comes this, then comes this, then comes this, then all the wall. Yet all the while, wow, look how open that is. Is that a way for that to get in and out and then right? Warm. Tricky. And again, if we had it, this is probably the lightest thing in there. Maybe this, but I'm going to guess this. I don't think that's anywhere close to white. And this is probably nowhere close to black. The measure. The sweet measure. Whoa. That's not where we were supposed to go. Let's try that one more time. There we go. And why does she stick out from all that chaos? Why does she stick out from all that chaos? Yeah, right? It doesn't take that many things to make a spectacular painting. It just takes what few things you have there in good order. But you see how this is flat? And this is kind of broken up and busy. Well, the broken up and busy doesn't carry as strong as a flat will carry. And so that's when we have a good focus right here. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up in the next minute or two. If there's any last minute questions, feel free to let me know. But I think what I'd like to do is let's go back to just the color versions and look at them next to one another. Again, to kind of remember, you know, in a lot of ways his color harmonies are like that of Hosep Pushman, right? And that comes from really keeping these values close. Even when it looks like they're way far away, they're so much closer than black and white. And that'll really make all the difference. and then, you know, almost without color, almost without any color. How is that possible? How is that possible? I don't know. Right? And even with the same idea, how much freedom is there to explore? Right? I mean, in one way, these are all very similar. All right, guys. We're going to call that an evening. So we got a big day tomorrow. 8 a.m. feedback, 9 a.m. class, a Zoom class, 1:30 studio time. I'm going to continue working on my Izzy painting, a little study. I worked on that a couple hours afterwards, and we got some things, so we'll review that again tomorrow. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you guys liked it. I really am. I really am. I try to pick things that I think you guys will respond to, that I respond to, and that I think can teach us something, that can show us something. You're very welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, you guys are beautiful. Thank you for everything. If you haven't, please like the video and always subscribe. We're on our march up, so if you can help us and share, we appreciate it. And then I'll be back tomorrow morning and hope to catch you guys then. Bye, everybody.